All right, welcome to the Persuasion Playbook. And this month's book was reverse selling, and it's how real estate agents can turn cold calling into clients. And here's the thing: like as we're looking at this thing, the book report, if you will, that I kind of did on this was not truly about cold calling. I did go through and break down his FISBO method, but more so just things that we should just be doing in our business, right? I just took some of the basic models, but really the book is implementing these strategies requires a dedication and consistent effort, and to shift your focus from traditional selling to building relationships, providing value first. And this approach not only helps in turning cold calls into clients, but also creating a loyal customer base and referral in the competitive Colorado real estate market. And this is the thing, right? Like anything and everything that we do as we're going through and we're doing these different things, to be able to provide value is the biggest thing that we need to be doing in this market. And when we're looking at the different things, 1.4 million realtors, in the United States, we're talking 40,000 real estate agents in Colorado, and what is setting us apart from everybody else? And we talked about this the other day, right, on Team Rally when we were talking about functionary versus fiduciary. And as we're going through, are we just being order takers, or we're just going through and we're saying, hey, okay, I'll go show you this house, I'll go turn these keys, I'll write this contract for you. What do you want? I'll put it in the paper. Or are we using our real estate expertise? Are we going above and beyond? And are we creating these lasting impressions for repeat and referral business? My first takeaway, right? Focus on building relationships, not just transactions. And I think this is big, right? It says implementation, prioritize getting to know your clients on a personal level. Host community events or workshops on real estate education to create genuine connection with potential clients. You know what? Since 2020, right? The very few gifts that COVID has given us is that we're able to connect at a very digital level right now. And even think about this call, right? Right, we're going on this call, and all three of us are in different places, right? We're all in the Denver metro, but we're all in different zip codes potentially right now. And as we're going through, the digital world has been given to us to be able to use and to use to our advantage and to help more people. So be thinking about this, right? When we're talking about community events and workshops and go real estate educations, think about the power of social media. Maybe not TikTok, because it looks like it passed the House and it's going to the Senate now. But maybe TikTok disappears in the next week or two. But as we're looking at this, using Facebook, using Instagram, using Zoom, using Google Meets, using these different things to host workshops. It could be a first time homebuyer workshop, first time investor workshop, first time home seller workshop. Like you can host all of these different things and take this content, put it out in the universe. You can put it on your YouTube channel. You can dissect it and take different pieces and put it on Instagram and Facebook just so you have content. And just thinking about the amount of people that you can reach. And I think this is one of the biggest things we need to think about, especially the MREA, the Millionaire Real Estate Agent Playbook. When we look at this thing, it tells us that our database should be 50% sphere of influence and 50% not met yet. And if you were at the class the other day with Brittany and with Katie and Lantern Home Group with Taylor facilitating it, one of Brittany's biggest takeaways that she said was that her database is not where it needs to be. And keep in mind, this is someone that's doing north of $30 million a year in business. And she says, my database isn't where it needs to be. And the reason why she said that was that her database is mostly people that she already knows, that knows her and likes her and trusts her. So what are we doing to bring more people into our ecosystem? And this right here, I think, is huge. And I think that when we're going through and we're thinking about these different things, there's a lot of people out there like, well, you know what? I'm concerned about hosting a first-time homebuyer workshop or a first-time seller workshop or a first-time investor workshop. Like once someone asks me a question that I don't know, well, firstly, get a vendor partner, right? Go find yourself a lender that you feel comfortable working with, and they can answer a lot of these hard questions. And The slide decks, at least for the home buyer one, is already created on Killer Ink. And I suggest everyone go look at like killerink.com and go down to the resource tab and open up that PowerPoint presentation for my first home buyer. There's a lot of great stuff, and there's a whole book that accompanies it, right? So you can do raffles and giveaways and all kinds of crazy stuff to get more people and to provide more value, to bring more people into your ecosystem so that you have your best year in real estate. The second one says listen more and talk, or listen more than you talk. And it says during interactions, ask open-ended questions and really listen to the answers. This will help you understand your client's true needs and preferences. And this is big, right? It's a needs analysis. What are we doing as we're going and we're sitting at the dining room table, or we're at the local coffee shop, or whatever this is, wherever you're meeting your clients? And are you asking questions? Are you asking why it's important that they're moving? What does that do for their life? When's their timeline? Like you're going through and you're asking questions, and then you're figuring out what the negative future looks like for them if they don't meet that. And so what I mean by that is this: you say, awesome, when do you want to be moved to Georgia, right? And they say, you know what, we need to be in Georgia in the next 3 months. And you say, awesome, what's important about that to you? And they say, well, we have a new job that I've taken, and I need to be at my job in 3 months. And so, well, what happens if we don't sell the house in 3 months? What does that do? Well, then they start looking and they start thinking like, oh my God, what does that do? Well, that means that we're commuting. We have two houses. There might be two mortgage payments. Like there's all these different things. And then you can have the conversation to be able to move them through the path that they need to be able to move through, right? Like maybe they were thinking that they were at a price point, but that price point was higher than it really should have been. And then you can bring it back down to a market level, right? You're going through and you're having a conversation with the buyer, and they're looking to buy in the area, and you're going through all these different things. And they're like, God, you know what? If I'm not a little bit less picky with my search, I'm going to be having to renew my lease. And I don't want to have to renew the lease for another year. Or maybe my landlord is going to sell the house, and then I'm going to have to leave that lease. I'm going to have to go into a new lease, and the monthly on that is going to be way more than what I'm paying now. This is the important about asking questions. And so as we're going through, I recommend everyone do the needs analysis, and you're just going through and you're just asking questions and asking questions. And here's the thing: already have your questions pre-printed, right? Go into this thing prepared. Go into this thing knowing what your talk tracks are going to look like, and just keep asking more questions. How many bedrooms do you need? What's important about that? And you go find out. They say, well, you know what? I need 3 bedrooms. And you're like, awesome. Why do you need 3 bedrooms? There's only two of you in this house. And okay, we want a guest bedroom and a study. Awesome. So if we were to actually find you a 2-bedroom house with a space for your office, would that meet your needs? Right? We keep asking questions. We're able to dive in deeper. We're able to figure out their motivations. We're able to help people at a higher level repeat and referral business. Next one, provide value first. Offer something of value before asking for business. This could be a market insight, home staging tips, free home evaluation. Make your website and social media platforms a resource hub for anyone looking into buying or selling in the real estate market. And again, right, I love social media. I think social media is one of those things that when we're not face to face, voice to voice, text to text, whatever that looks like, social media is in the background. Most people live on this thing right here, and they're constantly scrolling in their downtime. And if they're already scrolling, you might as well have a message that they can come across, whether it is just a quick plug, right? We have those social media posts that we're sending out every week to you guys. Put those things out there, right? All it is a quick pattern interrupt. They're associating you with real estate. And then we're going through and we're offering more advice. What does it look like to go through and, someone's having some questions, you're putting together a blog article, you're doing something, maybe it's an email that you're putting out to your sphere of influence, your clients, and it's what's happening in the market. Here's my home staging tip. Right as we're going through, maybe you're doing a CMA for your letters. So every letter in the alphabet, you go through and you say, awesome, these are the people I'm going to offer a free CMA to. and you're reaching out and you're saying, hey, I just wanted to reach out today. I know that, I've been having a lot of conversations recently, and a lot of my clients have had questions on what their home is worth with everything that they've been hearing on the market recently. And just want to know if you'd find it appealing for me to come over and to give you your no cost home evaluation so that you can see how much appreciation the largest financial decision that you have made in your lifetime, how much money that you have appreciated in value. Right? Like these are the different things that we can go through, and we're just coming from contribution. I'm not asking who do you know is going to buy, sell, or invest in real estate that I can help today. Right? That's not the message. And there's people that can do that all day long. That's not me. I don't think it's anybody else on this call. And so as we're going through, what can we do to provide massive, massive value to the people that know us, like us, and trust us? And right, we're going through these market insights. DMAR already gives us everything, right? And we're already repackaging it and putting it into some other stuff. And what does it look like to put that in a newsletter? Just put it out there. Home staging tips, right? Like you go through and you're like, oh gosh, home staging tips. Go into a local new build, go through, steal some shots. They're totally cool with you promoting their business. 100% they are. You go through, steal some shots, and talk about how they staged the home, and you can give them credit, not give them credit, whatever you want. I don't think they mind. And you're going through and you're just putting this information out there. Put it on social media. Put it in a newsletter. Put it in a blog article, and just put the content out there, providing value before we say, who do you know is looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? Establish yourself as this local expert and regularly publish content that showcases your knowledge of the Colorado real estate market, including trends, neighborhood highlights, case studies for successful transactions that you facilitated. And so we're going through, and it doesn't matter if you're brand new on this journey or you're a seasoned vet, right? I hear about this, like this fake it till you make it. And a lot of people are like, oh, that's such a negative thing. And this is the thing, I'm not telling anyone to go out and lie. Don't go out and say, I've been in real estate for 20 years and I've sold 100 homes. And it's like, no, 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 that's not this. But go through and take content, go out and find stuff and put it out there, and just be the local expert on it. Just put it out there, right? You have opinions, you have insights, you know what is happening in the market. You're in an ecosystem that is constantly educating and communicating and masterminding. Take the things that you're hearing, put that information together, and just push it out there. And we can't be afraid if someone raises their hand and they say, awesome, can you elaborate a little bit more on that? That's cool, right? Like that's what we're looking for. We can't be secret agents. And so as we're going through, we're being this local economist of choice, this local expert. Take the content, right? With the Colorado real estate market. Every week, you guys are getting content for Arvada, Westminster, and now Denver is being sent to you. You're taking this information, put it on social media, put it on your Instagram account, put it on your Facebook account. If you're going to do a newsletter, put it in the newsletter, fire it off there. We're giving you the trends on what's happening as well, right? We're telling you all these areas and these neighborhoods, and we're telling you the days on market. We're telling you what the rent is going, and you're going through and you're being able to educate on what's happening here. Neighborhood highlights, right? We have the ability, every one of you has this monthly neighborhood nurture plan through that we have inside of Command. Go through, call out the numbers. What would it look like to go find some new builds in the area and go do a quick tour of, hey guys, just want to let you know what's happening in Arvada. Welcome to this neighborhood here. And just do a couple quick shots, fly through. This is the price point. This is the area. This is the local amenities, and put this information out there. Be that local real estate expert, that local economist of choice. Obviously, we're going to use our social proof to our advantage, right? Collect testimonials and reviews from past clients and share these on your website, social media. Stories of how you've helped others can be powerful in attracting new clients. And this is what I would say. Firstly, if you're an experienced real estate agent, you should already be doing this. Like after every transaction that you do, get a testimonial. Not only that, is if we have lacked on those laurels a little bit, what we should probably be doing is put a contest in, or even just send out an email. I can tell you that when Brittany Heckenberg, again, it looks like I'm just like case study Brittany today. When Brittany Heckenberg went through, I think it was like 2 years ago, and she was doing her big rebrand and getting super purposeful, she sent out an email to her entire database looking for reviews. And I think she collected like 70, 80 reviews in the matter of a couple days. And they went right to her Gmail. You can do it on you can Gmail, you can do it on your Facebook, you can do it on your Instagram. If you want to do your Zillow profile, you want to do your homes.com profile, your realtor.com, it does not matter. Your KW website. Also, if you're a newer agent, it doesn't necessarily need to be real estate related. Like, you're a good person, you've helped someone, they know about your demeanor and your character, have them write a review about this. And it doesn't matter who it is. This could be a brother-in-law, a sister-in-law, a past colleague, whomever, and just have them say, "Hey, I don't know if you wouldn't mind helping me. I'm trying to launch this real estate career, and I know that you and I haven't personally done a real estate transaction, and I know that you know me well. Would you mind just putting up a review for me?" This has done two things. Firstly, what this has done is this has gone through and this has programmed that you're a real estate agent in their head, right? You just had a conversation. Hey, I'm a real estate agent. You don't know what that conversation is going to lead to. Maybe they will say, funny that you say that. I was actually thinking about buying this year, or I've been thinking about investing in a home. And then you can just go forward and it's like, awesome. I'm glad I had that conversation. And then number two, you're obviously getting these reviews out there. And you will be surprised with how many people say, absolutely, I'll do that for you. No problem. And they put it out there, and it is that social proof that you're looking for. Then we have leverage technology. And I think this is big. Like, as we're going through and we're thinking about everything, the technology is huge, and it's huge for a magnitude of reasons. But it says utilize a CRM tool to manage client interactions and follow up effectively. Also consider using social media and video marketing to engage your audience. All right. So let's talk about the CRM. And a lot of us right now, I think they think that this is your CRM. And you know what this is? This is a client relationship management tool. It is, right? I got applets in here. I got a phone applet. I have a text message applet. I have an email applet. I have social applets. Like, all those live in here, and I'm able to go through and stay in contact with people. Well, here's the thing. What are you doing to log those interactions? And I think that's the biggest opportunity that we're running into as real estate agents, is that once I go through, I have the conversation, I'm doing what I am doing. How am I logging this to have meaningful interactions afterwards? Because I get this a lot. Like, Charles, I'm afraid to pick up the phone because if I have a conversation, what if they ask about real estate? Or what am I going to talk about? This thing weighs 500 pounds. Not only is it heavy, but I'm scared of it. Well, as you're going through, first we have to remember that we're human, right? We're going through, I am a human. So we're going in and we're having conversations, and it's, the Adele script. And I encourage everyone to start off with the Adele script. And it's this: hey, how are you? Right? Like, that's it. Like, guys, I think we overcomplicate these phone calls, and we're reaching out to people and we're being human. And you're like, Charles, this is the thing. I'm a millennial, or I'm not comfortable picking up the phone or whatever. That's okay. I'm okay with that. Text them, Facebook message them, Instagram message them. It doesn't matter what it is. Let's just get into more interactions with people, because we know this is an at-bat business. And the more interactions that we have with people, the better chances someone will say, you know what? I'm thinking about buying and selling real estate. Can you help me? Thank you for calling. Thank you for texting. Insert whatever here. So you're going through, you're having conversations. And this is the thing, everyone, you need to log it. I don't know how many times I've gone through and I've had a conversation with someone, they've told me something, and I've forgotten to log it, or I've been in the moment, right? Or I don't know about you guys, or someone will text you and I'll look at it and I read it and I'm like, oh my gosh, I better put this back on unread so I can actually get back to it. And then, like, the day goes by and I'm like, oh shoot, I forgot. Well, that happens in our day-to-day lives through conversations. Someone tells you something, it's impactful, it's meaningful, it's something that you can follow up with. We need to be logging those conversations. So then when I'm being purposeful about my business, because this is the thing, guys, this is your business, you're a real estate agent. You're going through and you're helping people with the largest financial decision that most Americans will make in their lifetime. And you get to be a part of that. Not only do you get to be a part of that, but you get paid for it. Like, you get paid to help people buy and sell real estate, which is pretty cool. Like, this is how cool it is. Buying and selling real estate is so cool that they literally have a channel called HGTV, which is Homes and Garden Television. And if you were to watch those channels, what you're going to see is that there's not a whole lot of gardening going on. It's mostly housing. So we get to be a part of this transaction. So what are we doing to go forward and to be able to have conversations with people? So you're going through, you're having a conversation. They tell you something that's going on in their world. Hey, I'm doing this, right? And you're able to have a conversation and follow back up with it. And this is the thing, we need to be in as many conversations with people as possible. What we know is this: people buy houses every 4 to 7 years. That's kind of the life cycle of people that are buying houses. Yes, like the new NAR study, I think they have a lot of people living in their houses for like 50 years. Cool. People are living in their house that long. That's probably not your target demographic, but that doesn't mean that you can't be a human and be in relationship with those people too, because you know what? They have friends. They have friends that are buying. They have kids that are buying. They have someone in their world that's going to buy, sell, or invest in real estate that you can probably help if you're in relationship with at least them. So as we're going through this and we're reaching out to people, we know that it should be 36 times minimum per year and up to 72 times, which sounds super daunting. I totally get that, right? Charles, you're telling me I got to reach out like 3 to 6 times per month to some people, and like yes, and it's phone calls, it's text messages, it's emails, it's social media. Like, hey, I was thinking about you. I was listening to this podcast the other day, which was pretty interesting. It's a pretty good podcast if anyone's curious. It's called the Money Mondays, and it really is just about how to make money, how to invest money, and then how to give money away to charity is all it really is. And this guy was talking about networking. And it's interesting because I think a lot of us go into this networking thing. You're like, gosh, I don't want to network, or, what does networking look like, or whatever. And one of the things that he was talking about was this. He says he actually goes to his phone, right? He's using his phone as a CRM, which I said totally okay. Just make sure you're taking notes. And he goes through and he puts the person's info in, and he actually puts their job as well as where they are in the world, right? So if they live in, California, or if they live in Florida, or they wherever. So videographer, Florida. So then he says two things. If I'm in the area, what I do is if I'm going to fly out there in a week or so, I just kick something off to him. I say, hey, I'm going to be in this area. I'm going to actually get this hotel for whatever I have going on. Would love to meet up with you. And this is the thing. He's setting up like 10, 20 different people. So he gives them his itinerary. I'm going to be in the hotel at the lobby, or I'm going to be at the hotel at the bar at this time. So you want to come through, come check this out. He also goes through and he does this. If there's something in their industry or something in their city, he's actually texting that to them as well, right? So he's saying, like, hey, I just saw this happen to your industry. What are your thoughts on it? Or, hey, I just saw this new restaurant opened up. Just wanted to let you know and to see if you were planning on going, and whatever, right? And so leveraging technology, actually marketing and putting all this information in there so you have a reason to reach back out and ask questions. This is the importance of this. It's taking notes, it's knowing what the conversations were. And I think a lot of us look at this, we're all kind of this be entrepreneurial, right? Like we didn't want to be told what we needed to do. Like I think a lot of us like to shoot from the hip. And I mean, I like to shoot from the hip a lot. And this will help us build bigger businesses. So leverage technology. We need to be a consultant and not salesy. Approach each interaction with the mindset of solving problems, not making a sale. Offer your expertise and guidance to help clients make informed decisions. And guys, this is the thing again, right? If we're asking open-ended questions, right? What's important about that to you? What's your timeline? When do you want to be here? What does that look like? What happens if you're not there? That's being a consultant. They get to decide at the end of our conversation if they're truly looking to buy, sell, or invest at that point. Like we're not forcing anybody to do anything. Like we're here to help. Yes, we make money at the end of it if they do buy, sell, or invest in real estate, but no one in this room is good enough to force anyone to do it. And if we're coming from a place of contribution and curiosity, we will win. And so we're sitting down and we're having these conversations, right? The mindset of problem solving. Going through, someone says, oh, what, interest rates are too high. You're like, tell me a little bit more about that. And they say, oh, I can't afford a house. And you're like, okay, why do you say that? Well, it's just been all over, social media, or I had a buddy that told me, or insert whatever here. Then you say, well, hey, you know what? I have a really great lender partner, and she's actually been able to get people better rates than what the market is showing. Would you be interested in looking into that? I can set that phone call up. Right, like we're going through and we're listening to people, we're having a conversation with them, we're figuring out what their objections are. And guys, for the most part, objections are really just it's they just don't know, right? Like they just don't know. They don't know what they don't know, or they heard something from somebody. And this is the thing, the news is not our friend, right? CNN, Fox, Twitter, YouTube, I don't care, insert whatever here. There are doom and gloom is what sells. That's what people click on. And so as they're going through and they're putting all this bad stuff up, the housing bust, the uh, the Airbnb bust, the silver tsunami, right? Like all these different things that people are talking about. And we looked at this the other day at Team Rally, right? We looked at the amount of homes that are underwater, and we looked at the amount of distressed house sales, all time lows. Margaret made the comment, I think it went from 1% to 2%. She's like, it doubled, right? And she said that for fun. But in the grand scheme of things, like there's a lot of people out there that are getting clicks and they get paid for their clicks, and they're willing to put whatever kind of content out there that is going to captivate their audience and to make them money. And it is our job to be the real estate economist of choice to help people make an informed decision about the largest financial decision that most Americans will make in their lifetime. So we need to be a consultant, and we just need to be coming from a place of curiosity and contribution as we're going through and we're helping them through this process. Understand your client's motives again, like, and we're going through deep dive into the whys. Your clients are buying or selling. Tailor your approach to meet their specific situation, whether they're upsizing, downsizing, or buying their first home. And this goes back to a listing presentation or a buyer presentation. Firstly, I would ask, do you even have one of those? Do you have a buyer presentation? Do you have a seller presentation? Then do you have it for the different types of demographics and the people that you're working for, right? Do you have a first time home buyer buyer package? Do you have a first time home buyer seller package? Right, like as you're going through and you're being able to cater these things, and especially as we're looking right now, and we are talking about the silver tsunami. While I'm not a subscriber to that because I don't think it's real, there are going to be a lot of baby boomers and people right sizing out of their houses. So as they're coming through, like, do you have someone? Do you have a mover? Do you have someone that's able to move the 1,000-pound piano? Right? Like, as we're going through, do you have these people inside of your database that you can actually put these packages together and you can say, look, and I already have the team for this. I know that we're going to go across state lines. I have a across state lines mover. I actually have the people, and I know it's going to have to be in a pod because your house isn't going to be ready. So we're actually able to put this thing in a pod for now. Like, you also have some of these things. I had my estate person. This estate person last week, guys. If anyone was following along, this estate thing was a big deal. Like, I'm telling you right now that Debbie was on the phone for days talking to estate people. And Kim raised her hand and she's like, does anybody have an estate person? And like estate people are like a dime a dozen. I feel like they're probably like electricians and plumbers at this point. So are we making these relationships, like as we're going through, like, do we have these people, and are we making sure that we're talking about it and putting it into these presentations for our tailored approach with our clients? And I'm telling you, I told the story at Team Rally that I remember competing against Margaret for a listing that neither one of us got. And there's three agents, myself, Margaret, and another agent, which I can't even begin to tell you what brokerage they were from. I just know that they live nowhere near Arvada, and they still beat out two Arvada agents. And when I was talking to when the seller was talking to me to let me know why I didn't get the deal, she said, hey, I love the presentation, love all the marketing, love everything that you were doing. The only reason why I decided to go with whoever I decided to go with was they have an electronic lockbox. And for me, I just felt safer with that, knowing that no one can enter my house at night when I am sleeping or away. And I was like, cool. Like, I totally have an electronic lockbox. That just wasn't part of my presentation. And so as we're going through, we're thinking about these different things, guys. Like, I think we also take a lot of things for granted. Like, the people think that they know what the buying process looks like, that they know what the selling process looks like, that they already have a plumber, that they already have a lender, that they already have a mortgage company, that they already have a insurance company. Give them give them some resources, and that means that if we're going to give them resources, if we're going to give them those referrals, we actually have to have them. And this is the thing: vet them. These should be people that are already in your ecosystem. That means that you're going to have to call them, go out to lunch with them, go have a coffee with them, have a conversation, go check out a deal. Like if they're in the middle of moving, cool. Like what does that look like? Like if they're like, hey, what jobs do you have going on that I can come see what your guys' process looks like so that when I'm having a conversation with my clients. So you go out and you guys are all like, Charles, really? I'm gonna go watch a moving company move. Well, check this out, right? Like, firstly, you know what their process looks like. You can also steal some shots. You can put it out on a blog. You can put it on a social media article. You can say like, "Hey, I got a great mover. This is what they do." Steal some shots of how they wrap stuff up. Show the team. Show how they're professionally dressed. Show the moving truck. You're putting all this. Firstly, you're giving that mover now some publicity from your people. You're helping them win. They're obviously in conversations with people as well. You don't think you're going to become their go-to real estate agent of choice because you just helped them do some things? Like, guys, this is very the reciprocity that is going into this thing and it's going back and forth. I think this is a win, guys. And so, like, go out and see them on the job, snap some photos, do some blog articles, do some social media posts, put them in your emails, whatever that looks like. That's how you win. Follow up and stay in touch, guys. This is the big thing, and I just remember these conversations back when we used to talk about Zillow being the enemy. First and foremost, Zillow is still the enemy. I still believe that. But on top of that, we used to like say like going out and buying leads. Like we don't go buy leads. Like Keller Williams agents, we don't buy leads. Kim can probably remember this. Like I remember back in the day, we did like a yellow book exercise where they would literally give us the yellow pages. It was like just go call people, and you're like, good God, like that. Like that's what we believed was better than actually buying a lead at one point. Um, but I think the message is more so this: it's not that buying a lead is bad; it's being transactional is bad. Being a transactional brokerage, not a transaction broker, right? But being just transactional and just being there for the sale and then forgetting about your person is bad, right? So create a systematic follow-up process for leads, inquiries, and past clients. We need to use newsletters, holiday cards, personal notes to stay top of mind, guys. And this is birthdays. This is text messages. This is insert whatever here. And I think that we overcomplicate it. Like how easy is it to fire off happy birthday, happy new year, you know, just did this and wanted to share this restaurant just opened up in our area. Just wanted to let you know. Would you want to go to Top Golf? Like whatever that looks like. And here it is. I think that a lot of us are like, Charles, I got, 100 people, 200, 300, 400 people in my database, or I don't have anything in my database right now, or I don't have any system processes, models, tools going on. And this sounds overwhelming. Start small, right? Like, what does it look like to put 10 people? Your core advocates. Start with your core advocates, the people that you know that like you trust you, that you know that if anyone mentions real estate, they are mentioning you. Like I have those people in my life. Like one of those people in my life, I have five concerts already on the schedule with that person, right? For this year, we got 5 concerts already scheduled, including Jason Aldean at the Frontier Days. They just got released yesterday, and we were in the queue, and we got our 4 tickets to that Jason Aldean concert at Cheyenne Frontier Days. Like those 10 people in your life, that's where you want to start. Start there with them, and just make sure you're pouring into them at a higher level this year. And we're going through. And anytime someone mentions real estate, they're thinking of you. And what's cool about this relationship is those are the people that are going to want to know, like, if someone mentions real estate, how do you want to be introduced to them? Right? You get to tell them, you're like, well, hey, this is the thing. I think a lot of people are really overwhelmed with this process. And I would super appreciate if you would like firstly just send me a text message that you're sending them my way, but also introduce us in a 3-way text message. Like that would be super awesome. And it takes some a little bit of the uncomfortability out of this. And so as we're going through, what does your follow-up process looks like? There's people that have raised their hand or that, haven't ever done the deal. Or think about this, think about all the people that were on the sideline in 2023. So we're in 2024. And not that rates have gone down significantly, because they haven't. Let's be very real and honest. They haven't gone down. They haven't gone down much at all. But I think what we've seen is that a lot of people are growing to the understanding that rates aren't going to go down to 5%. I mean, they are at some point, right? Don't take that as gospel. Like Charles said, the rates aren't going down ever. I'll tell you this: they're not going to ever go down to 2% again. Like that won't ever happen. Um, and I would put money on that. But I think that what we need to do is we're going through and we're thinking about these different things. Is there are people out there who have been on the sideline for a year waiting for rates, and rates aren't going anywhere. What have we done recently to spark those conversations again? And it doesn't need to be salesy. It doesn't need to be like, hey, I just wanted to reach out. I know that you said you wanted to buy 12 months ago, and I haven't reached out to you in 12 months, but I just wanted to see what your plans were buy, sell, or investing in real estate. Like, that's probably not the conversation. The conversation's probably seeing what they have going on. Maybe you're inviting them to coffee. Maybe you're doing something. You're sending them an article. You're whatever. You're just getting back into conversation. I can tell you guys this, right? We start talking about this follow up and stay in touch. We don't need to overcomplicate it. And again, I remember my first year in real estate. I went to Tony Giordano, the the social agent, I think is what he calls himself, the social agent. He ran the Opulent Agency. He's a KW OP out in California, and he was part of the $1 million listing on Bravo and everything. And went to one of his classes, and it was he was talking about the death of the door knock. Right. And he was always talking about like you go to the door and go knock on it. You would never know if someone was home or not because there's no light on. Like it wasn't like green light, someone's on, red light, someone's off. But on your cell phone, if you were to go onto Facebook Messenger, or you were to go into any of those platforms, it lets you actually know who's off, right? It says like this person's online right now. And so like if you were to go online, you probably see Elizabeth scrolling social media right now. I'm totally just kidding. She's actually doing well compliant stuff. And you're going through, and I can say that my first year in real estate, what I would do is I would just reach out to people. I would go through my whole list. It was called Facebook A to Z. I would go through every person, A through Z. It'd take me 2 days, like 8 hours. I don't know if I could do it anymore. There's so many people in my ecosystem, but and what I would do is it would just be obscure holidays. Happy National Paper Airplane Day. Happy High Five Day. Happy National Road Trip Day. Happy Labor Day. Like it would just be anything and anything that was on and available just for me to send out. And this is the thing. Some people are going to leave you unread. Some people are going to have a conversation with you. I can tell you this. My very first one was this, and it was probably the biggest mistake one that I sent, but I learned a lot from it. I said, hey, so-and-so, just wanted to reach out and let you know that I am transitioning from doing fix and flips to helping families buy and sell real estate. If there's anything I can do for you, please don't hesitate to let me know. Well, the cool thing about Insta or on Facebook is that it lets you know who reads your messages. The bad thing was I saw that almost everybody read my message and not a single person responded. So I got left unread by everybody. It was like one of those new phone who dis, but like they see your face, so they know who you are. And I said, okay, that kind of hurt, and I'm gonna go again. So the next one was actually Labor Day. Was the next this is the next post that I did. And so I went out and I got a little gift. It was a Labor Day gift that I found, and I sent it to everyone. I said, hey, I just want to wish you a happy Labor Day. I can tell you this. I got people apologizing for leaving me unread. Like that happened. Like, hey Charles, I'm so sorry that I forgot to respond to you or whatever. I'm like, oh cool, yeah, no problem. And I got one of my first listings out of that deal. And it was a guy that I used to work at Home Depot with. And so this is what I want to preface this by. It's 2017 now. I got out of Home Depot in 2013, and I was not on social media until I became a real estate agent. So I had little no conversation with this person. So we're talking from 2013, I left Home Depot. It's 2017. I have my real estate license now. A few months into me having my real estate license, I learned this technique and I did it. Happy National Labor Day, whatever, right? And he says, hey, man, I'm actually the executor of my uncle's will. I know you're a newer real estate agent. This can be a trickier transaction. Do you feel comfortable doing it? Absolutely, I do, right? Like that's what I'm responding back. And he's like, okay, well, hey, I know I'm dealing with a lawyer, da, whatever. And so we just have to figure out a way to stay in touch. And I think we overcomplicate this thing, and it can be anything. It can be newsletters, holiday cards, text messages. It could be, I found something funny on social media and I send it to them. It does not matter. And start small. Start with your four advocates. Start with the 10 people. This could be your best friend from high school. This could be whomever. You're just pouring in at a higher level, systematic and strategic follow up to stay top of mind with these people, and good things will happen. And guys, as always, always be learning, right? Continually educate yourself on the market trends, new technologies, sales strategies. Consider coaching or mentorship programs to further develop your skills. Like right now, we're all in a conversation and we're talking about how to level up. Like these are the things that we should be doing. We should be looking at the market trends, and that's one of the things that we committed to this year was every Tuesday bringing the market trends for the national level, for the state level, talk about interest rates, and just have conversations around it. That's why we do that every Tuesday via Zoom. The new technologies that are out, like figuring out what is happening. Just because like we have a whole suite of technologies for you at KW doesn't mean you can't look at other things, right? Like even at family reunion this year, they had Canva. Like Canva was a presenter. We have a Canva like product inside of our CRM, and KW is still like, let's bring Canva in. You could be looking at stuff like BombBomb, which is just like video messages that you can actually send out to people. You could be putting them on I can't remember the name of it now. What's that home evaluation tool? HomeBot, right? Like you can put them on a HomeBot. Yeah, like guys, there's some cool stuff out there that you can actually be putting people on, and like it's providing value. Like look into the technologies, look into things to help you. And this is the thing, I'm not telling everyone to go out and spend a bunch of money on some stuff now. Like that was not my message in all of that. But if there's something that you're like, I don't want to use this, I don't want to use this, but I would really use that. And if you're really going to use it, first they ask for the 30-day free trial, then use it and make sure that you're actually doing it. And sales strategies. Guys, here's the thing. Like, I don't know if any of you checked your emails this morning, but we got something from NAR, and Inman was all over it, and RIS Media was all over it. And like, there's going to be a brand new way we're going to be doing business as buyer agents come July. I tell you that. So like I already sent it off to Elizabeth, Margaret, and Kevin. I was like, okay, guys, we need to be thinking about this because this is the latest thing that we're going to be navigating now that and for those that don't know what I'm talking about, like NAR settled for $418 million, and they're celebrating that they have to do it over 4 years, which good for them. And one of the things is in the MLS, they're no longer going to have commissions in the MLS are going away. So what that looks like is that all of us are going to have to go through, and after we've got done negotiating with our buyers, we're going to have to call the listing agent to see if they're paying a commission before we go show any properties. That's what I envision this looking like. Like there's no clear cut way that I know what we're doing yet. And this just happened today. So I don't have all the answers. You guys are just the first that are going to hear it from me because literally I was just reading this email before we started this conversation. How we're doing business as buyer agents is going to drastically change. And so we're going to have to be going to meetings and figuring out what those conversations look like. One of the other things that they're doing is they're saying that the MLS rules, so everyone in here knows that in the state of Colorado, you don't need to have an agency agreement to help someone as a transaction broker. But if you're an agent, you're a fiduciary, you need to have a written agreement, right? We call that right Rule F. Like we're going through, we got Rule F, it must be in writing. We have to use Colorado approved forms. We have all that Conway Mode, Rule F, all that agency in writing. Well, what one of the other things that NAR went through and said was that part of their settlement is that to show a house as an MLS participant, you actually have to have your agreement in writing. So you actually now, before you even show a house, have to have an agreement in writing. And you have to, when you're going to go submit an offer, if you want to know what your commission is, you actually got to give a phone call because it's not going to be in the MLS anymore. There's nowhere for them to put it in the MLS. It's gone. So like, as we're talking about being learning, I think that's the power of these ecosystems. So hopefully I didn't just scare everyone. You guys are all just like, oh my God, what am I going to do? We have till July to figure this out. It's not, and none of this is happening till mid-July. And we will have a lot of conversations with a lot of people that are smarter than me, figuring out what we need to do. And we're just going to implement, we're going to do business. Go ahead, Kim.
I'm just wondering, how is that being even more transparent? If it's
It's
on
not
the
being,
MLS, like it's not, it's hiding it more than anything.
I think it's actually worse because I think this is
Yeah.
my take on it. I think that right now we have a pretty frictionless process, right? You sit down at the coffee table, you talk to your buyer says, you know what, you are worth X amount of dollars. You were like, thank you, Mr. or Mrs. Buyer. So then you're going through the MLS, you find them the perfect home. On the MLS, it says this is the perfect home for them, and they're willing to pay X amount of dollars in commission. You're like, cool, my buyer's not going to be any money out of pocket. The seller's going to take care of it, and I am going to be able to help them win. Well, now you find them that perfect home, and you're like, you have your signed agency agreement. You went to the dining room table. They said you're worth X amount of dollars. You find them the perfect house. And in my mind, what it looks like right now is that you call the listing agent, you say, hey, listing agent, I just want to see if you guys are willing to offer a commission. Well, what I don't know is this. I don't know if you actually have to have a contract in place before you can actually talk about commissions, or if they're allowed to tell you over the phone, right? Because we have that checkbox, right? It says personal information. Like, can you give personal information about your client? Well, is that considered personal information that they're willing to pay 2.8%? So do you actually have to be in negotiations with them before they tell you that information, or are you allowed to call them and they're allowed to disclose it up front? That's what I don't know. Like, that's where this thing's going to get weird, and they're going to put friction on it.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, Kim.
So I just had that problem or situation come up.
Yeah.
It listed 2.2 in the MLS. And I called the agent and I said, are you sure this is what the commission is? Because I'd already talked to my buyer and said, you're going to owe me money unless I can do
Mm-hmm.
something here. And she goes, oh, I'll just pay you out of my commission, the difference. And I said, so let's do an amend extend so that seller agrees to, or buyer's agent, seller's agent or whatever. She goes, oh no, I don't want anything on an amend extend. And so we were writing the offer and everything, but how do I know I'm going to get paid? I have nothing in writing. I just have her texting me saying, oh yes, I'll pay you out of my commission. And that's what I'm fearful. We're going to have some kind of written form to show that we're going to get paid. The deal didn't end up working out, but and I was glad kind of that it didn't, because I wasn't sure, how am I going to get paid from you out of your commissions? Um, so
Yeah.
it has to
Well,
be, it's going to have to.
absolutely. Yeah, 100%. This is the thing. So a couple things that I just heard, right? So we had a weak listing agent that was like, hey, I couldn't get any more money, but I want this deal to close and I want a couple dollars, so I'm willing to give you some of my money. Okay, so I heard that. The second thing that I heard was actually a real red flag, was that they were like, and I'm going to pay you, and it's undisclosed income at this point. So that would have been undisclosed income, which was not going to be on a settlement sheet anywhere, which would have been against the law, right? And so like we can't do that. And so as we're going through and we're doing these different things, I think that's going to be what we're going to see. We're going to see a lot of people get out of the business because they don't know how to have conversations with their clients anymore about why a co-op commission is a good thing, and they're also they're going to start disappearing out of the business, I think, for that reason. So yeah, a couple things, right? Firstly, weak listing agent. Secondly, I'm glad that deal did not work out, because that would have been a whole can of worms that I think we would have broken the law, having a check across the table without it being disclosed. So, Kim, I saw you take yourself off you.
Well, that conversation probably wouldn't have been remembered come closing time,
Yeah,
you
no, it
know.
wouldn't have been. No.
And
Yeah.
then I'm just wondering, it just popped into my head to think about, like, on a builder contract, how they have a commission agreement form. So
Mhm.
why wouldn't we implement something like that?
Right.
I don't know. You know what? When this thing first started rolling out, this is my take on it. My take was that NAR is one of the largest lobbyist groups in the United States. And the DOJ doesn't like some of the things that they lobby for. And so the DOJ was really trying to hurt NAR. Right. And so we talk about stepped up basis. We talk about, tax incentives for home ownership. We talk about all these things. And what does the federal government want? Your tax money. And so the DOJ put their sights on NAR and they started going after them. And if we were to look at this thing, right, like just think about this. If we have a VA buyer, which is a federally guaranteed loan, not backed, this is a guaranteed loan by the federal government. Well, now with the rules that are in place that you can't do a VA loan. VA loans you can't do anymore. Come July, unless they change the process, you cannot do a VA loan anymore because there is no commission that is out there. And if we're going through, how are they gonna close on the deal?
You're hurting the average consumer. So what they're doing.
Absolutely. So I don't think they thought a lot of this through. I think they really went in there to go hurt NAR, and I think that NAR looks like they're going to squeak by. And we'll see kind of what it looks like at the end. And it was just kind of funny because they were also talking about Berkshire at Home Services, right? Home Services of America is Berkshire. And they were just talking about how they haven't settled yet. So they're the lawsuit does not protect Berkshire. So those agents are still hanging out until they sell or do something. So that'll be interesting to see how that goes. Cool. So the very last thing, guys, like this was actually the whole point of the book, which is this. And so for anyone that looked through this book, this is what it was. So reverse selling, the secret of getting FSBO listings. So this was his process. So he starts with a home tour. He calls the seller, says, "Hey, Mr. and Mrs. FSBO would love to come check out the house and kind of just check out the property." So that's what he does. He doesn't push the listing. During the first meeting with the sellers, he just tours the property and makes sure that he has a great interaction. He just can't human to human with them. Then, with their consent, he gives them an audit on their Zillow profile, right? Their Zillow ad, if you will, right? It's not only MLS, it's on Zillow. So he's like, "Hey, you know what? If it's okay with you, we'd just like to, take a look through your Zillow and see if I can give you any advice," right? And he's doing this for free. He's comparing their views, he's critiquing their photos, and he's just giving them some information. So cool. Like he's going through and he's like, "Hey, like you're gonna sell this thing. Let me just help you." Then he prepares them a CMA, non-salesy, FSBO tailored CMA, offering market information in a helpful, no pressure manner. "Hey, just want to let you know this is what I think your home's worth based on what's going on in the area. I just wanted to give you this information. If you want to leave it on the dining room table, you know you're going to have a bunch of listings, I'm sure of it, or a bunch of appointments, and you can show them all the data. And here it is. I prepared this exclusively for you." Then he concludes then he does the value proposition presentation. He outlines his services for FSBOs. He's like, "Hey, here are the things that I do. Like if any time, like I'm sure this thing's going to sell. But just in case it doesn't, like this is what I'm willing to do for you." And guys, what does it look like if you were to create a FSBO presentation, right? I call it, FSBO if you must, right? FSBO if you must, where you're going through and what would it look like just to host a weekend open house? You have to have a listing agreement, but it's a weekend open house. And you say, "Here's the thing: if I don't sell this, I'll give you the name of everyone that came through here, and you can call them." Right. So you have a listing agreement that's good for 2 days. You hold a 2-day open house. You go big with it. You advertise it. You put it out there. Like, no harm, no foul on this. Then, seed plan. He concludes the visit by encouraging the seller that they can still sell on their own and reach out if they run into anything. Like, "Hey, if you run into any issues at all, I can give you some advice." Right. Like it's got to just be like in my experience, what I've seen in the past. I can't tell you exactly what to do because that'd be an agency agreement, but like I can go through it. I can tell you like what I've seen people do traditionally in these experiences. And then he follows up. So he follows up multiple times for the week. He calls on Mondays. He video emails them with the FSBO advice on Wednesdays, checks in on text messages on Fridays. And this approach keeps him top of mind, offering value without pressure, making him the go-to agent for FSBOs facing seller challenges. And with this system and his diligent follow-up, he has gone through and he's achieving 2 FSBO conversions per week. Right. So as we're thinking about this, like he's going through and he's converting FSBOs. just by doing this. So this was actually the whole point of the book, was like how to actually go take down FSBOs. And so here it was, just in one PowerPoint presentation, one slide deck was his whole process on how he does this. So guys, that's it. Like, as we're going through and we're looking at these books, I think a lot of them are going to tell us the same thing over and over and over again, which I think is good. Hopefully, one of the messages just kind of resonates, and we're like, you know what, I need to do that, or I am doing that. This is just reaffirming that I'm actually executing. This was the first one that we've read that's actually truly geared towards real estate, and not necessarily real estate specifically, but FSBO specifically. And literally, this is the whole book summed up in 5-10 sentences right here. So awesome, everyone. That was Reverse Selling, the secret to getting FSBO listings. We'll do another book report next month, and we'll go through and let's just keep crushing things. And again, back to the NAR MLS cooperation. This just came out today. Again, let's not stress out about it. There is going to be some things we're going to have to figure out, but it's just going to be conversations that we need to have. And again, we're going to win in this market. I know that. That's what I do know, is that these agents, you guys that are on these calls, that are in these masterminds, that are on these conversations, we're going to have the right talk tracks. We're going to do the right things to help you build massive businesses, and we'll let the other agents get out of the business. And you guys are going to continue to crush it. So everyone, have a great rest of your day. Have a great weekend, and let me know if there's anything I can do for you guys.
Thank you, Charles.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, Charles.
Bye.